In 2021, the third instalment of Zack Snyder's DC saga was finally released after years of petition by fans. Each film in this saga is very different from the last. They all have a distinct tone, aesthetic, and overall feel. While some of the themes explored are predominantly contained to individual films in the series, each film explores different areas of much of the same thematic territory, and each communicate their themes in different ways. There's much to say about the themes of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, but what about the latest addition to the series? What about Zack Snyder's Justice League? What does that film say? What does it depict? How does it build on the chapters that came before it? What ancient struggles does it dramatise? Well, let's get into all that now. We'll begin with war. The film depicts an invading force trying to take over a sovereign land, Earth, and the defenders of the planet, the Justice League, must defeat this invasion. This is nothing new for this type of film. The subject matter is a staple of the genre, and is explored in other films within this series, as well, of course, as the Marvel films. And before any of that, similar types of stories have been explored through the ages, in all the different iterations of this kind of mythology. The thematic core of this aspect of the film is quite simple. It's the fight for liberty, for defence of the homeland of a people, the assertion of the value of self-determination. It's very similar to 300 in that regard, Snyder going back to his roots in a way. The two films share the same thematic thrust. Zack Snyder's Justice League displays constant war images throughout the ages, wars from thousands of years ago, with ancient armies and gods fighting side by side, invading alien forces, Vikings, Amazons, the World War II era shown. Steppenwolf's appearance is a blend of a formidable alien demon, knight with his shining silver armour, and Viking warrior with his giant battle axe. And Ares, the god of war, is the god who lands the blow to defeat Uxas in his first invasion of Earth. The alien invader villains are thousands of years old. It's as if they're representative of an ancient spirit of war come back to rear its ugly head from the dark abyss of space and the soul. It follows on nicely from Batman v Superman, where Batman was so obsessed with pursuing his war against Superman, and that whole process he was mixed up in contributed to Superman's death. Bruce's sins have summoned this invading devil, and Bruce must atone by bringing people together, rather than dividing them as he did before, defeating the new threat and resurrecting Superman. All that brings us on to the topic of myth. The film is raw mythology, a giant sprawling epic spanning not only the globe, but also time and space, with forces invading from amidst the stars, and backstory stretching thousands of years. It blends mythology of old and new, ancient Greek gods sharing a screen with contemporary American superheroes. A vital part of the Justice League's mission is to resurrect Superman, who they need to help them defend Earth. He is the strongest of them. His presence kept the invasion at bay when he was alive. Symbolically, by bringing him back to life, the Justice League are restoring the spirit, the icon of justice, liberty, self-determination, individualism, all the highest ideals of the West which they are trying to defend from the barbaric invaders. It's particularly significant that Bruce is the one to lead the charge in this initiative. In resurrecting Superman, Bruce is not only undoing his past mistakes materially, but he is also choosing to salvage the ideals he was unwittingly on a warpath against in Batman v Superman. By reviving Superman, Bruce is restoring his own soul, as he is choosing to bring back the ideals he had once abandoned, now turning away from the path to hell which he was previously on. The boat in Aquaman's introductory scene is called Cortland, which is a reference to Ayn Rand's novel The Fountainhead, a book preoccupied with promoting individualism as the heroic ideal. There's little more to say about this detail. It's simply a fun Easter egg, which functions as a nice little piece of the overall picture of an individualist mythology on display in the film. It's a useful detail to introduce this topic. So, there is individualist rhetoric used frequently, befitting of the superhero genre of course. It ties in thematically with the fight to maintain individual freedom from the alien invading forces. Each member of the League is on a journey to find their place in the world, discover how to assert their unique individual power in order to make the world a better place, to protect it, and to inspire others to follow that heroic example. Each of the newly introduced League members goes on their own hero's journey in this film, and thus slot nicely into the individualist thematic framework on display, as this dramatic structure, by its nature, depicts the personal journey of an individual, upon which they mature and find their place in the world. As well as exploring these individualist themes, there is of course a heavy emphasis on the need for disparate individuals to come together and work as a team. The Age of Heroes, as depicted in the history lesson scene, is idealised as the time when all the forces and peoples of the world, even those who would normally be enemies, banded together to defeat the alien invaders. The power of unity among people is demonstrated in this flashback to the past, and serves as an example for the Justice League to aspire to. It juxtaposes then versus now. Then, when the world was united, and thus strong, and now, when it's divided, and thus vulnerable. And this dynamic provides a clear aspirational pathway forward for Bruce and Diana. It sets an articulated objective for them to journey to, clearly defined for them and the audience. Steppenwolf recognises that the opportunity to attack is good, because humanity is not united to defend themselves. This story detail acts as a way to express the need for humanity to come together in these times where there's such division in the real world. The film is almost pleading with the real world to get our act together, so we can be prepared to face the metaphorical barbarians at the gate, and actually have a fighting chance. We're stronger together, as the film makes so clear. How does this call for collective cooperation weave into the themes of individualism? How does it bolster the individualist ideals lionised in superheroes? Well, a cohesively functioning collective society is what provides the luxury for individuals to fulfil their potential, because it nurtures them, helps them under the understanding that that relationship is reciprocal. It's a golden rule style ethic. The film before this, Batman v Superman, was largely about division, the heroes being divided and wanting to kill each other. This division is a destructive force which eats away at wider society. When heroes stand together in a united front, setting an inspirational example, that's when society can bond around them, rather than being divided along lines of allegiance to one hero or another, one tribe or another. By the end of Batman v Superman, the heroes, particularly Batman and Wonder Woman, are shown the error of their ways. They're shown how necessary it is to work together. When a civilization is divided, that's the perfect time for enemies to strike, as Steppenwolf does. In Batman v Superman, Batman, being so distracted by his self-indulgent revenge quest on Superman, means Superman is pulled into that whirlwind of distraction, and thus the world is left poorly guarded, and evil can transpire, which it does as Lex gets up to no good. There is also the issue of the unchecked evil within the hearts of the individual heroes, which is allowed to grow when they don't work together and provide feedback through example, collaboration, open communication, etc., of how to stay on the right path. Because evil is not simply an external force. It resides in the hearts of all individuals, including heroes, and when those heroes are divided, they're vulnerable to falling prey to their own dark side, and ushering in a worse world for everyone. Once again, that's exactly what happened to Bruce in Batman v Superman. When the Mother Boxes form a unity, they will unleash a power so great it will cleanse the earth by fire. This symbolically reflects the double-edged sword that is collectivism, the unification of separate entities, because when unified, these boxes are shown to be extremely powerful, but this power is an all-enveloping, world-destroying force. When separate, These boxes are powerful in a different, more positive way. In fact, they're used to repair and rebuild things. One rebuilt Victor Stone and resurrected Superman. Unified, the League are strong, stronger than separate in many important ways. But with this also comes a danger, as they are a formidable, potentially destructive, tyrannical force. Separate, they were weaker in some ways, but stronger in others, as they acted as watchmen to keep each other's power in check. While their unification into the Justice League is seemingly a net good, this potential for corruption in their system is an ominous echo from possible futures for the coalition to be wary of, and would have made for interesting subject matter in possible sequel variations for this film. After Bruce and Diana are shown the need to band together in the wake of the tragedy of Superman's death, in Zack Snyder's Justice League they carry this lesson forward and embark on a path not only to put measures in place to protect the world, but also to better themselves and atone for their sins. Several members of the League, if not all of them, are grappling with this same struggle in their own way, but none have more to atone for than Bruce. Bruce is haunted by the guilt of his past actions, and his conscience is motivating him to live up to Superman's example, not to fail him in death as he did in life, to do the opposite of what left them vulnerable to Lex and Doomsday's attack the last time, to spread the message of the need for collaboration and gather the team, to spread the good word as the reformed man he is who has rediscovered his faith in humanity and in the ideals of Superman. Bruce and Steppenwolf are mirror images of each other in a way. They're both on a quest to achieve something. They're on opposite paths. Bruce is trying to build something, build an alliance to protect his home. Steppenwolf is seeking to destroy that home and all its people. Preservation versus destruction. Both Bruce and Steppenwolf are embarking upon their opposite quests in order to find redemption. Steppenwolf is on somewhat of a more tangible, materialist motivated quest for redemption. He wants redemption under the approval of a physical, external authority, Darkseid. Steppenwolf has been banished from his home by Darkseid and wants to be allowed to return. The price is countless innocent lives across many thousands of planets. While Bruce's mission is in service of physical, material ends of redemption too, protecting what he once endangered, he also seems to seek redemption under a more abstract ideal, a metaphysical authority perhaps, a spirit, his conscience, the memory of Superman and what he stood for. Bruce is largely on a spiritual quest for redemption, and by the end of the film, he seems to be granted that which he seeks, having atoned for his sins, repaired the damage he once caused, welcomed back to the side of the angels, welcomed back to the light. Only this time, he's not deceived by a lie like he once was. So what do you think? Do you agree with the points raised here? Do you have anything to add to them? Any observations about the film which complement or contradict what's been said here? Are you a fan of this film? And how do you think it compares to the other Snyder DC films? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. See you next time.